Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Chandra, and today I have for you a few different foods that came together organically and intersected in really fun ways. So I had some milk that needed to be, it was at the end of its week. I get raw milk every week, and I usually either make yogurt or ricotta. So this week I had yogurt, so I was going to make ricotta. I was looking up ways to use it, and I came across this ricotta ice cream that looked really good. And in the ricotta ice cream was candied orange peel. So here I am making, here I am making candied orange peel. Just previously, I was cutting up the orange peel into smaller pieces to make marmalade, and here's more marmalade action right now, cutting up the oranges. My son has been listening to a lot of Paddington, and if you know the story of Paddington, he eats a lot of marmalade sandwiches. So he's very curious about trying marmalade. And in marmalade, you only need a couple of the peels, but you need like 6 oranges. So I knew I was going to have all these extra orange peels, and now I had a reason to make candied orange peel and an ice cream to put it in. So that is what we are doing. I'm going to heat up the oranges with water and get those nice and hot. This is for the jam. The peels, the smaller sliced peels, are in there. And then here are the peels for the candied orange peel. And this needs to be brought to a boil several times. And each time the water is strained away, then refilled, boiled again. And each time you boil it for 5 minutes, and that reduces the bitterness of the pith that is still on the peel. So now that that has been strained of its water to remove bitterness, I am adding just enough water to cover the peels, which ends up being about 2 cups. And then an equal amount in volume of sugar, so 2 cups of sugar. And this just makes a simple syrup, which I will simmer those peels in for 40 minutes. And that's going to infuse the peels with the sugar water. It's also going to infuse the sugar water with the orange flavor. So I'm going to strain out or pull out the orange peels, and I end up putting these in the freezer for a few days, but then came across a recipe that treated them differently, and I liked that. I did that, and it came out really well, so I'll show you that at the end of this video. And then I'm taking the simple syrup that is orange simple syrup now, and I've been using that to put in my tea instead of honey, in my black tea, and it's been good. So now I'm making the ricotta. I use the end of my milk all the time for ricotta. It's really easy. It's the easiest cheese to make. So you bring up the milk to just boiling. And when it just begins to boil, this is a half gallon of milk. I add 3 tablespoons of lemon or white vinegar and stir it over low heat. Or sometimes I will turn off the heat and just let it sit. If I'm going to be leaving the heat on low, I do want to be stirring it so that it doesn't scorch on the bottom, and it just turns into those lovely curds, and that is the ricotta. So I'll strain out that way. This is not the kind of way that you would use to start a ferment or anything like that. I usually just toss this way. It does have things in it, but it's not that acid way that is useful for lots and lots of stuff. So here's my ricotta. I'm going to put that in the refrigerator until I'm ready to make ice cream. Now back to the jam, the marmalade rather. I am adding lemon juice. I use Pomona's pectin, and I am going to can it, so I want the lemon juice in there to assure the acidity is correct. So Pomona's pectin uses calcium water in order to set the jam. In that way you can use less sugar. So here the Pomona's needs to be mixed with the sugar. And this is where I run into a problem. I can't believe it. I had gone to the store the day before too. I could have gotten more, but I'm checking all the packets. They're all calcium water except for this one, which has, I realize it soon here, and not nearly enough pectin in it. I'm just going to dump it all in because I realize, oh boy, there's not enough. So I'm getting every last bit that I can. And what I do is I'm going to go with it, and you can test jam to see what kind of set you have. And this is what I do. Put it on a little plate and stick it into the freezer for a few minutes, or the refrigerator, actually, is what I did. If it sets, then it'll work. And it did. And, Pomona's is made from the peel of citrus fruit. So citrus has some pectin going on for it, and maybe that's why it worked. And it was a thinner marmalade, but not in a way that I would have noticed if I didn't know that it had just a little bit less pectin. It actually had half the amount of pectin than it needed. So maybe I should make a note of that and not waste extra pectin on marmalade. So I'm filling up my jars in order to can. I've got my friend here who doesn't want to be put down sometimes. So I'm doing all of this one-handed, even if you can't always see her. I am holding her the whole time. So I'm cleaning the rims with vinegar to make sure they're good and clean, and I have my lids there sitting in hot water, and that softens the seal around the edge and ensures a good contact with the jar lid. And then I'll put on my bands here. And these will process in boiling water for 10 minutes. This is my new pressure canner. I'm using it to water bath can here, but I've been using it a lot to make broth, canning that, and I'm going to experiment with canning beans. This is the extra marmalade that we have been eating. We just finished it today. It went quick. So I did not can that jar. We just put that right in the refrigerator. I have given a couple of these away, but I'm left with quite a few. It's fun to be in the citrus season now. Leo, my son, has eaten most of this jar. He has had it 2 or 3 times every day. Okay, so now let's pull all of our ingredients together with this ice cream. In the blender, I have ricotta, cream cheese, milk, sugar, lemon zest, vanilla, salt, and here I'm going to add the heavy cream in at the end after everything else is pretty well blended together. It was very thick. I will link this recipe below. Now I'm going to melt chocolate chips in a double boiler. So I'm boiling water underneath this bowl, and then I'm going to spread the chocolate out onto a piece of parchment paper and put that in the freezer to harden up again. And this will keep the chocolate from feeling frozen when it's in the ice cream. It will melt in your mouth. The rest of the ingredients are the chocolate, some chopped pistachios, and of course the candied orange peel. This was a very, very thick ice cream. It was tough to spin it in the machine. It didn't do much spinning. It was just sitting, like the machine is on, but it's just sitting there. Very rich. We did not need to eat much to feel very full. The ice cream has already been gotten into. We both, my husband and I both enjoyed this very much. So here is the candied orange peel, and you can hear that it's dry now. So I took it and dehydrated it, and then I coated it in sugar. So it has that little bit of like crystally look that you get with like gummy type candies, which this is most similar to. And I like it like this because I can store it on my shelf instead of my freezer. I like things to go through the freezer as like a stopping point, not a place to stay, because lots of stuff has to go in there. So this is good, and it's been used in old fashions. It's a nice cocktail additive, and with it being dried, it can soak up whatever liquid you're putting it into, so that makes it a little bit more fun. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.